He was a deaf millionaire who owned everything money could buy, yet he ate every meal in silence and loneliness. Then one night, a cleaning lady's baby reached out and did something so unexpected that it shattered his world forever. What happened next turned pain into purpose and silence into a voice that changed countless lives. Stay with this story, because the smallest hands can deliver the greatest miracles. Before we dive into this incredible story, do not forget to subscribe and tap the bell icon so you never miss our powerful, life-changing content. A deaf millionaire dined alone, until the cleaning lady's baby did the unthinkable. I sat alone at the long walnut table, counting the reflections of light on polished silver. The dining room smelled of warm bread and rosemary, rich and comforting, yet empty. I felt the quiet as a physical thing, thick as velvet, pressing gently against my ears. Silence had been my lifelong companion, faithful and demanding. I was born deaf, and I learned early to listen with my eyes and my skin. I watched steam rise from my plate, slow and graceful, like a promise waiting to be kept. My mansion was vast, beautiful, and carefully designed, yet it often felt like a museum after closing time. Money had built these walls, but money never filled them with voices I could feel. The cleaning lady arrived late that evening, pushing her cart with careful determination. Her name was Maria, and she carried tiredness in her shoulders and dignity in her walk. She bowed her head slightly in greeting, and I returned the gesture with a smile. She was allowed to bring her baby because childcare cost more than her daily wages. The baby rested in a small sling, round cheeks glowing under the chandelier. I watched the child's fingers curl and stretch, exploring the world through touch. Maria began to clean, her movements efficient and practiced, her eyes always returning to her child. I continued eating, savoring texture more than sound, the gentle resistance of bread beneath my teeth. Then something changed in the air, subtle yet unmistakable. The baby looked directly at me, eyes wide and curious, unafraid. I raised my hand in a polite wave, a small habit I use with everyone. The baby responded by lifting a tiny hand and copying my movement. A soft vibration reached my chest as the baby laughed, a joy I felt rather than heard. My heart tightened, surprised by how deeply that sensation traveled. I placed my palm on the table, feeling the faint tremor of life in the room. The baby leaned forward, stretching, determined to reach me. Maria froze, embarrassed, her lips forming quick apologies I read easily. I gestured for calm, inviting her closer without words. She hesitated, then stepped forward, holding her breath. The baby reached out and pressed a small hand against my chest. In that instant, I felt a clear rhythm, a living drumbeat matching my own. The room seemed to narrow, focusing every beam of light on that touch. The baby smiled and began to move both hands with intention. My breath caught as I recognized the shapes. The baby was signing, not random motions, but deliberate, careful signs learned through love and repetition. The baby signed the word hello. My vision blurred, and warmth flooded my face. Maria covered her mouth, tears forming as she realized what her child had done. She explained with trembling hands that her sister was deaf and taught the baby every day. The shock settled into something deeper, something healing. For the first time in years, someone spoke my language without effort or fear. I knelt beside the table, lowering myself to the baby's level. I signed hello back, slow and clear. The baby clapped, delighted, feeling the vibration of joy between us. In that moment, the mansion no longer felt empty. I invited Maria to sit, and we shared the meal together. I watched her relax, watched the baby sign more words, watched connection bloom. Pain from years of loneliness surfaced, then softened, then released. I understood that wealth had never been my greatest resource. Understanding had been missing, and understanding had arrived in the smallest hands. From that night forward, the house filled with lessons, patience, and shared meals. I funded a school for deaf children and hired Maria as its manager. The baby grew, signing stories into the air, teaching others to see and feel. I learned that kindness listens beyond sound. The moral settled gently in my heart, clear and lasting. True richness lives in empathy, and the smallest souls often carry the greatest wisdom. I woke each morning to sunlight touching the curtains like a quiet greeting. The house no longer felt like a monument to success, but a living place with breath and warmth. Maria arrived early now, confident, her steps lighter across the marble floor. Her baby recognized me instantly and reached out with eager hands. I learned new signs every day, slow at first, then hungry for more. My fingers, once used only for contracts and calculations, learned gentleness. The baby corrected me without mercy, laughing when my hands infused meanings. That laughter moved through the floor and into my bones. I remember my childhood, classrooms where teachers turned their backs while speaking. I remembered faces moving too fast, patience running thin. Those memories returned with pain, yet also with clarity. Pain, when understood, becomes instruction. I began inviting the staff to eat together at the long table. At first they were stiff, unsure, afraid of invisible rules. Slowly shoulders relaxed, eyes softened, hands reached for shared dishes. I watched conversations unfold through expressions, gestures, and touch. I realized how much sound had distracted the world from truly seeing. One afternoon, the baby crawled across the floor toward the piano. The polished black surface reflected curiosity and courage. Small hands struck the keys, not producing music for me, but producing vibration. I placed my hand on the wood and felt the uneven rhythm. The baby pressed harder, fascinated by the way I responded. Together we created something imperfect and alive. Maria watched us, her eyes shining with pride and disbelief. She signed gratitude with careful respect. I signed family in return. Work increased, not the work of earning, but the work of building meaning. Blueprints covered my desk, plans for ramps, light-filled classrooms, open spaces. I visited construction sites, feeling the ground through my shoes, imagining children running. Every decision carried faces, not numbers. Some nights exhaustion wrapped around me like a heavy coat. Yet even then, I felt full rather than empty. I understood that effort born from love does not drain the soul. The baby grew stronger, steadier, more expressive. Each new sign felt like a gift unwrapped slowly. I saw how tenderness could shape a future. And I felt that something important was still unfolding, waiting just ahead. The days began to blur into a gentle rhythm of purpose and discovery. I spent hours sitting on the floor, feeling the cool marble beneath my legs. The baby crawled toward me with determined joy, palms slapping softly. Every movement carried meaning. Every look asked a question. I answered with my hands, slow, honest, present. Visitors came to the house, business partners dressed in confidence. They paused when they saw us, a millionaire seated on the floor, signing to a child. Some felt discomfort, their faces tightening with confusion. I welcomed that discomfort, because growth often begins there. I invited them to sit, to watch, to feel the quiet differently. Many left changed, carrying silence with new respect. One evening, rain traced thin lines down the tall windows. I felt the storm through the glass, steady and persistent. The baby pressed both hands against the window, fascinated by the movement. I placed my hands over those small fingers, sharing the vibration of thunder. Fear flickered in the baby's eyes, then trust returned. That trust humbled me more than any award ever had. Maria told me stories with her hands, stories of struggle and faith. She spoke of nights without food, of prayers whispered into darkness. Her strength did not shout, it endured. I listened with my whole body. The school began to rise from the ground, steel and hope entwined. Children visited the site, their laughter visible, contagious. They signed to one another, quick and alive, a language of light. I felt something break open inside my chest. This was what my silence had been preparing me for. Not isolation, but deeper connection. One afternoon, the baby toddled toward me, unsteady yet determined. I opened my arms, heart pounding. The baby fell into my embrace, small body warm and real. In that moment, the world narrowed to breath and touch. I understood that love does not need sound to be loud. It needs presence, patience, and shared effort. The path ahead stretched long, demanding more work, more courage. Yet I felt ready, anchored by small hands and honest eyes. And I sensed that the greatest lesson was still forming, quietly, just beyond reach. The day the school opened, sunlight filled every hallway with gentle promise. Children arrived holding hands, eyes bright, hearts brave. I stood among them, not above them, feeling the shared excitement in the floor beneath us. Maria stood beside me, no longer just a cleaning lady, but a leader and a guide. Her child signed proudly to the crowd, welcoming everyone home. I felt tears rise, not from sadness, but from completion. All my wealth, all my years of silence, had led to this moment. I realized that my deafness was never a lack. It was an invitation to listen deeper. I looked at the children and understood the truth with absolute clarity. Pain, when met with kindness, becomes wisdom. Loneliness, when shared, becomes community. Hard work, when guided by love, becomes legacy. I learned that the smallest act of understanding can change the direction of many lives. I learned that true success is measured by how many hearts feel seen. The moral settled gently within me, and I offer it to everyone. Never underestimate the power of empathy. Never ignore a quiet soul. Because sometimes the most life-changing voice arrives through silence, carried by the smallest hands. Thank you for listening to this heartfelt story. If it touched your heart, please share it, leave a comment below, and remind someone of this simple truth. You are never alone.